Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of the Focus program. I'm Pastor D.W. Talbert. I'm pastor of the New Hope Baptist Church here in the city of Muskegon, Michigan, USA. And I welcome you to again to another taping of our show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And we have, as always, we have a great show lined up for you today. We're in the political climate. We're in the election time in our community, and the city of Muskegon Heights has an election coming up on November the 5th, Tuesday, November the 5th. So make sure you get out and vote. But today we have with us one of the candidates who is running for the City Council of Muskegon Heights, Michigan. And I'm so delighted that he's with us today. And his name is Brother Euless Ellis. And he is running for the council position on the Muskegon Heights City Council. God bless you, Brother Ellis, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Reverend.
Great to have you. Great to have you. Appreciate you taking time to be with us on our show today.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, indeed. My pleasure. My pleasure. So you're running for the City Council position for Muskegon Heights, Michigan.
Yes.
Good, good. Obviously, you've seen a need, and you have something to contribute, something to bring to the table to make this city work better, and to take it and to drive it forward in a good way. You want to share some of those things with us today?
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. I've been an observer in the city for the last 7 years.
Okay.
I've attended city council meetings, school board meetings, and talked to numerous people. Mm-hmm. Now, I came back to Muskegon 7 years ago because some young man snatched money out of my mother's hand in the store.
Okay. And
she was distraught for a while, mm-hmm. and talking to her on the phone because I was living in South Carolina.
Okay.
And my sisters, they were a little distraught likewise. Mm-hmm. So our concern was for our mother because we didn't quite understand what was happening in the Heights.
Okay.
So I came, but I was an educator in South Carolina, and when school was out, I returned.
Okay.
And one thing I find that makes my ears perk up, a lot of times when we went out to Myers, Walmart, Sam's Club, or anywhere, and my mother would engage in conversations with different people. Mm-hmm. And I would say 90% of the conversations always included something about the crime in the Heights.
Okay.
And those seniors, they have a certain fear, mm-hmm. which is honestly to be understood.
Right, right.
So I began to look then, or observe, and be attentive to the politics.
Okay.
Because politics means how do you govern yourself? Mm-hmm. And I don't see a unified front for the community. And what I mean by unified front is that they are politically engaged. Mm-hmm. So why is it like that? You have to look at the leadership. Mm-hmm. And I'm not bad-mouthing the leadership.
Right, right.
Because there are different leadership styles, and which one is appropriate to get the job done. Mm-hmm. So the leadership, it's a lot of work that needs to be done. Therefore, the leadership has to have a transformational component to move the people in a direction. Mm-hmm. Now, that direction is based on the vision. Because when you have a vision, you know where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. And all visions then become prioritized. And when there are priorities, you can resolve one by one to get the kind of outcome that is desirous, mm-hmm. and you keep at it because you have the flexibility until the job is done.
Right, right.
Another thing is this to get this vision going that I can't see that exists. I know that the motto of Muskegon Heights is we are a friendly city. Okay, but the question is, well, what does that mean? Okay, so if you have a vision, I'm just making this up on the spot here. Muskegon Heights is a city of families and homes, excellent education, skilled workers, and a growing commerce. Then all of those parts I just named can be accomplished and become a part of the community. Okay, skilled workforce. So are we going to consider becoming part of the global community, the technology community? And if we consider either one of those, that we develop the skills if we want to manufacture something, if we want to become a part of Simi Valley, and we can honestly write our plan, ask for a meeting in Simi Valley, and say, hey, this is where we are. We understand this is what you need. Will you work with us? And I'm speaking on something that has actually happened to similar cities like Muskegon Heights. Then we can appeal to the community. We can then take advantage of what President Barack Obama established, that technologies are being part of community colleges. Muskegon Community College, every time I go to the library to do a little research, I see plenty of students, but none of us. Okay. And so everyone is taking advantage of this established educational process from President Obama, but us. And we are the ones that need to do that for our community.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you consider the land layout, that's another positive point. We can't have a mega manufacturing firm, but we have enough land where we can have satellites. I worked at Chrysler Corporation in management my whole time. And they have a division that deals with future. Okay. And I worked on some future projects. And I had to interact with the people in technology. And when they're looking to relocate, establish a different facility somewhere, rebuild, etc., they look at all the communities based on different variables. Put the variables in, enter. And all the communities that meet those variables, then they take a closer look, do another elimination until they get sites or communities that they might want to go to. And the same thing happens with education. Anything you want to know about any school in America, you can find out on the internet. Okay. And Muskegon Heights has to improve its education. Okay, now I want to try and tie this together. So education for skills, that's part of the vision. And then when people or manufacturers or businesses, period, see that you have the skill set, then they want to be part of that community. Okay, technology and goes along with the skill sets. Families and homes. We have the land. A lot of people own their own homes. And then you have a lot of vacant lots, and then you have a lot of abandoned homes. But development can occur. Revitalization can occur. If it can be done with gentrification, that's a land grab, and then you get booted out. You can do it with the community. So jobs are created. International Brotherhood Electrical Workers, American Plumbers Association, steel workers, bricklayers, carpenters. They have all these skills, journeyman level, apprenticeship, graduated levels. You get paid as a first step, second step, all the way until you become a journeyman. For example, a journeyman under the International Brotherhood Electrical Worker average about $40-some an hour. Now, you go to one of those storm centers, hurricane centers like that, you could be making $150 an hour, plus a stipend for you to stay and food. Now, so we train electricians, we train plumbers, masonry, bricklaying, carpentry, all of those skills that it takes to build or do construction for a house or commercial building. So we have some journeymen, and we could use those as mentors because they have to survive, but they can be mentors to help facilitate a quick learning process. And by, for example, taking the apprentice into the house of all levels, electrician, plumbers, carpenters, and so they can see the layout, so that they can relate to the schematic or the diagram, so they can understand the wiring process, how from the meter throughout the house, so to say. Now, those same people should be given a goal. Like, if it's 100 apprentices, 10% of you have to establish a business when you get to a certain point. But the point is, you building, revitalizing, remodeling homes and commercial buildings. That's a way to create jobs over time and redo the city over time. Okay, so now the world, we're in a global world, and there are developing African countries, and some of them would like dual citizenship, which would be very ideal, to go back and forth to a country and learn about your roots, as well as have the exchange of business. And sky's the limit, because they're developing, they're growing, they're becoming modernized. So there has to be many things that we can provide for them from our hands of labor. But we have to have the leadership that is part of the communication between the community and the council. And so, again, the vision, so if we want to have a growing commerce, then we're doing it because we have an international connection. We're doing it because we're developing, revitalizing commercial buildings, and people are establishing businesses. And we create the true economics, which is the flow of the money. And that's as simple as I can make it. But if you have no vision, then we get what we are, where we are now, condemning, criticizing, and complaining, because no one knows. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and this is not the time. We have to have a unified front, for our well-being. It's not about attitudes. You're entitled to your attitude. It has nothing to do with that. It's about our survival in these times. It's very important. So again, leadership, it's hard work.
Yeah, it is.
It's very hard work.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't have a job. I'm retired.
Okay.
So the leadership for me would be about service. And so service to me is premised on what I believe, and that is you have to move life forward. And as a Christian, I say the Christ in me represents that I am worthy of God. And so that's what I believe.
You know, the issues are so numerous and so overwhelming. Where do you start? Where do you start in our city? I mean, our city, Muskegon Heights, is challenged on a lot of fronts, as many other cities. Where do we start so that we can get the biggest bang for our effort?
Okay.
You know?
See, in all things, get an understanding. Communication. You have to have communication. Again, the communication is based on the vision. Where are we going? Where do you want to go? So once that's established, it allows for everyone to become a participant. And it gives you a sense of pride. It allows you to, I want to do this. I'm listening. It's not, see, it doesn't have to, it's not about attitude, it's about, here's citizen come to the council meeting and speaks. They entitled to speak, they pay the taxes, they live there. So I have to have an open ear to hear what they're saying. It's not a put down, it's like they voice whatever, make note of it, and if it fit, it don't, if it do, it do. But at least we're communicating. Right now, if I go to the meeting and I register whatever my voice says, speaks on, I may not even get any feedback. Okay, so then I don't know. And my neighbor asked, well, you went up there, what happened? So now I'm in a condemning, complaining mode.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so nothing is really satisfactory or accomplished. See, from my experiences living in different parts of America, the city gives to the community, gives back. And there are all kinds of ways to give back. Muskegon Heights, they talk about beautification. I'm all for that. And I work hard on the yard too. Okay?
Right.
Now, the Muskegon Heights owns the water. And here's a great opportunity to help the city beautify and carry out the ordinance of people parking cars on the lawns and eliminating leaving your trash can out. Because if you give back in the month of June, July, and August, your water bill will be constant. And being constant will allow you to use whatever amount of water it takes so you can maintain a green grass. If your grass is nice, green, and growing, you'll keep it cut. If you want to put flowers out, you put flowers out. And trim up your hedges and everything that's about landscaping that's a part of beautification.
Right.
Maybe you then say, wow, it looks good. Maybe I'll paint the bricks. Or maybe I'll just paint the house. Maybe I'll wash the windows today. Okay? Everything along that line that makes the neighborhood look good.
Yeah.
But when you have to struggle paying an exorbitant water bill, you're not turning your water on.
Right.
Your grass is going to look, and therefore the block looks likewise. And this is something that can be done, and there's no loss of revenue per se. And as a consequence, you're given something, and that makes everybody take a step up higher together.
Right.
That forms a bond. That's the part of having a united front to move forward, and that's an act that helps move life forward. Because landscape, it's part of us too. We breathe in oxygen from the plants and trees, and they take in our CO2 and other pollutants in the air.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff floating around out there.
Oh, believe me.
They say take a deep breath. You're like, hey, I don't know. So it's true. That is so true. Well, it sounds like you have a lot on the ball. I was looking at one of your flyers here, and I mean, it has a host of community services and professional background information. It's just extensive, from military service to research and technology, and masters in educational leadership, and physical science, liberal arts. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And so you have quite a bit of background in a lot of areas that look like can be a great asset to the city of Muskegon Heights.
Well, that's my scholarship. And I paid money. I spent my time studying. And man of color. And I've attended classes with students from all over the world.
Okay.
And of different religions. So what has compiled to the makings of me in this moment are the skills that I have from my scholarship endeavors.
Okay.
And they are two: research and analysis.
Okay.
And I'm doing that all the time with everything in my daily living. And it's a part of me. It's not even a habit. It's just automatic. So the research that I continue to do, I'll give you an example. When I first come back to Muskegon, I looked on the internet, I looked at the Center for Disease Control, National Institute of Health, and I wanted to get a feel for my ongoing interest in respiratory toxicology.
Okay.
So the incidence of respiratory distress like asthma is just like in many parts of this country, it's high. And one of the variables that you can measure for that is the emergency room visits for children.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I mean by research.
Okay. Okay.
So now, I can't say exactly who, but when it comes to the hikes, you have special interest groups. These special interest group and their interests becomes the interest of the state, and that's where the money and decision making comes from.
Okay.
So when people don't vote, they forfeit their power of the vote to those special interest groups.
Okay.
And so as a consequence, the hikes from the political process becomes marginalized. And that's something I don't think people really understand. That's very important.
Yeah,
that
it is.
The special interests and their interest becomes the interest of the state. For example, Governor Snyder came here a few years ago. He met with Fruitport, Grand Haven, Whitehall, Muskegon. And all of those places have built more to their waterfront, not the hikes. I'm not quite sure what special interests represents who. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I just know that the hikes was excluded, and it's clear. That's what you see. So further research probably would say exactly who it is, and we might could say, please don't do that anymore.
Right.
But if we have a unified front by voting, you can accomplish much.
Yeah.
And don't believe the hype. I often ask people, who told you in your thinking that your vote don't count?
Right. That is so true.
You know,
That's
why?
so true.
If you think that way, you act that way. So who told you
Right.
that your vote don't count?
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
because that's what America is based on. And right here, I know we're coming to the end, but this Constitution,
Okay.
which our ancestors fought for, died for, the 26th Amendment gives you the right to vote.
Right.
And if you say that's not important, you don't care, they'll do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Who told you that?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. We must exercise our right to vote, and because it does count, and that is the key to everything.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's the key to all things. That's how we change the quality of our life, is through voting, and voting constantly and consistently. Vote for the person of your choice, and vote how you feel your heart and family would benefit from the issues that are out there. Brother Ellis, we certainly wish you all of the great success in your campaign.
Thank you.
And I believe you're going to do very, very well. And I want just to remind our viewers that the election is on November the 5th.
Yes.
And go out and vote. Please cast your vote. Now, are you in a district council position, or are they all at large?
At large.
Okay, so they're all at large, so that you can vote for Brother Ellis. No matter where you live in the city, you can cast your vote for him or whomever you would like. But please go out there and vote.
Yes.
And make sure your voice is heard on November the 5th. All day. I believe it's probably 8 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening. And so do that. Brother Ellis, we're all out of time, and we're going to have to wrap and go. And
Thank you.
But man,
Thank
I
you,
sure
Reverend
appreciate
Talbot.
you taking the time to come out and share with us. I know you're busy and you're in the home stretch of this election, and you got a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of places you're trying to be at the same time.
Yes.
But you came to see us, and I thank you so much for that. Thank you so kindly, and our viewers certainly appreciate it as well. And so even though we have to go, we want to remind you, as always, and never forget, when you get with Jesus, you're going up. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.